against everybody. It's a good group, and Coleman's got a lot of speed, so it's an explosive group of backs as well.
Bill, Johnny said that your record is 2-4, but he doesn't feel like you guys are a 2-4 team. What do you feel about where your team is at, despite the record?
Yeah, well, we're getting ready for the Jets here, so let's try to focus on what we can do. Be ready to go this week and go out there and play a good football game.
Bill, where do you see the greatest difference in this team from the one that you saw in week 2, how they've evolved?
I mean, a lot of little things. I don't think it's anything like they haven't changed their offense or changed their defense. They're better at it. They've got more experience doing it, and they're better at it. Work better together as a group. In all 3 phases, playing good complementary football, and have a better understanding of the scheme, what they're asked to do, and how they do it.
Well, yesterday, Josh said that Franklin Myers is a unique player at that position. How do they get a lot of pressure from the defensive line? How do they complement each other, and what makes him particular?
Yeah, well, I mean, all those guys are high motor guys. Myers has good power, good speed on the edge. They do a good job pushing the pocket with their inside guys, and so that makes it sometimes difficult for the quarterback to step up, which brings the outside guys into the rush. If the quarterback can't move up in the pocket, then that brings them closer to him. So let's say again, good complementary rush. They run games up there, and again, those big guys inside do a good job penetrating, and then that clears some space for the edge guys.
Bill, defensively, how do you go about trying to recreate the level of success that you had in week 2 against the Jets?
Yeah, I think every time you play a team in this league, it's a whole new game. So I'm sure they'll have some different plays. We'll have some different looks. Things won't match up the same. So just try to go out there and play a good fundamental football game. Make the necessary adjustments that come up during the game, which I'm sure there'll be some, because again, this is a game plan team that will move some things around from week to week.
How have you seen Wilson evolve since the time you saw him? And you see some more confidence there?
Again, he hit a lot of big throws against Tennessee. Really, he hit some of the outside throws like he did against us, downfield throws against Tennessee. He's athletic. Got out of the pocket, gets out of the pocket every week, and so it's a challenge back there to contain.
Bumped up Miles Bryant to the 53 yesterday. How do you think he'll be able to help you?
Yeah, Miles is always ready to go. He's a versatile player for us in the secondary. I'm sure he'll be able to do a number of different things depending on what we need, by situation or maybe by game.
What have you seen from Johnny Smith, and how do you feel like you guys can get him more involved in the passing game?
Yeah, well, again, we've talked about this multiple times. Like, it's not just like throwing the ball at one guy in a passing game unless it's a screen pass. So, throw the ball. We need to have good team execution, protection, route running, spacing in zones, and winning our individual matchups based on leverage and man-to-man coverage. And then the quarterback throws the ball to the guy that's open. So, concept of like just throwing one guy 10 passes, like I don't really understand that.
Bill, I know Mosley is dealing with an issue physically, may not practice today for them, but he's having a good year, it seems, and Josh talked about it yesterday. And reading what Robert Saleh had to say before the season, there were questions whether he could fit in his defense, according to Saleh. So what have you seen from Mosley, and how difficult of an adjustment would it be for a guy in his position to go from the schemes that he's been in to this defense for the Jets? And how
Mosley's got a really good skill set. He's impressive. He's very instinctive, reads plays well. He's always around the ball, runs well, good tackler. Is a physical player. There's not many weaknesses in Mosley's game. He does everything well. But he's a really smart player that finds the ball and recognizes things quickly. And you better get him blocked, or you're not going to make a lot of yards.
any of the PUP guys ready to start the clock?
Yeah, I might be able to take a look at that.
And Malcolm Perry on the IR, is that like is that an all-in range? I know, you know, is he?
Yeah, he's working every day, so yeah, just take it day by day.
And only because we care about you, are we gonna see you on the injury report here today with the nose cut?
Yeah, I think I'll be all right.
Okay. Checking.
Bill, you mentioned Crowder's a big part of what they do. Why is he so helpful to their plan for Wilson?
He's a really good player. Gets open, catches the ball, good after the catch. Smart player, instinctive. Another good player for a quarterback to throw to.
How important is it to, particularly for a young quarterback, to have sort of that guy who seems to get open quickly and work that short area of the field?
Oh man, they got Davis, they got Davis, they got Moore, they got Cole, they got Bax, they got Croft. And, yeah, he's got a bunch of guys. It's always good to have them open.
You talked about David's leadership in the past, David Andrews. How critical has that been the last 2 weeks with all the moving parts that are on the other side?
Yeah, no, David, has done a great job on that, and certainly having James and Ted in there, help too. Again, those guys are very experienced and have played center and are familiar with the line calls and adjustments and things like that. And, fronts that get stemmed are guys that change our location a little bit pre-snap, and it's really all five of those guys seeing the same picture, on every play, whether it's pass protection or the running game, and whichever five they have, we do the best thing to get those five guys, whatever the combinations or blocking calls or so forth are. And that's, those guys working together, David, but, Ted and James on either side of them. We've been fortunate that those guys have been able to have as much experience as they've had, in our system and plug in there the last 2 weeks. The assignments and all have been really good. I haven't really had any problems.
Bill, with how well Mike Unwin played last Sunday after not really practicing much this year at right tackle, did that increase your level of confidence that he'll be able to potentially do that moving forward?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll put our best players out there.
How rare was it for you, understanding this was related to other injuries, but have a player like Isaiah who hadn't practiced in 2 weeks and then goes out there on Sunday?
Yeah, doesn't happen too often. Again, we're kind of in an unusual time here, so it's not really an injury, but he was out. So again, it's a little different than, I would say, normal football situations, but that's where we've been here for the last 2 years.
Would a week of practice for him, Bill, be enough for him to kind of get back to a normal workload this weekend, you think?
Yeah, we'll see.
Two final questions.
Bill, Sunday night, a lot of your players talked about having to just get back to work. That's how you bounce back from losses. What have you seen? Have you liked what you've seen from your team Monday, today, in terms of that attitude of work?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we just came in for treatment on Monday and Tuesday, so we're back at it today. Yeah, we're ready to go.
Final question.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Filter lemonade, packed with lemonade flavor after a lemon of a year.
Opponents? I've gone up against thousands.
And there's an opponent we're all up against, COVID-19.
But there's a way to beat it. Get vaccinated.
So when it's your turn, roll up your sleeves.
And let's get to the finish line together.
When did Bud Light Seltzer start making lemonade?
Probably when 2020 handed us all those lemons.
New Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade, packed with lemonade flavor after a lemon of a year.
Opponents? I've gone up against thousands.
And there's an opponent we're all up against, COVID-19.
But there's a way to beat it. Get vaccinated.
So when it's your turn, roll up your sleeves.
And let's get to the finish line together.
When did Bud Light Seltzer start making lemonade?
Probably when 2020 handed us all those lemons.
New Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade, packed with lemonade flavor after a lemon of a year.
Opponents? I've gone up against thousands.
And there's an opponent we're all up against, COVID-19.
But there's a way to beat it. Get vaccinated.
So when it's your turn, roll up your sleeves.
And let's get to the finish line together.